Hi, how are you doing tonight? Lisa Zagnoli here, coming from rainy Gainesville, Florida. And I'm very happy to come to you guys tonight to share some thoughts that I have. I was out Christmas shopping today in the mall, and I brought back a lot of memories. So when I first started back in the workforce, hey Troy, nice to see you. When I first started back in the workforce, hey Frank and Steven. So when I became single again, I had to, hey Brenda and Jill, thank you guys for coming on. It's so good to see you. Hey Carlos. So when I first became single again, I had to reinvent myself. And I had never worked a full-time job outside of my home. So when I was married for 18 years. And that's a long time. And I have two wonderful kids. And I used to homeschool. I was a homeschooling mom. And I didn't just homeschool. I used to lead a homeschool support group. And we would plan group learning days. And also field trips, and I just made it a lot of fun. Of course, I put my all into it, which is what I always do with whatever I do in my life. And so that's what I did for 15 years of my life, except for part-time jobs here and there. I did my own business during that time, very part-time as well. But then once I became single again and got divorced, I had to start in the workforce full-time because I was the primary breadwinner, as well as the homemaker and the mom and the dad and everything else. So anyway, it was a lot. So I was like, okay, well, I'm used to taking care of people. I'm used to sales. So I'll just start working, in the mall, in a store. And so I started in the clothing industry. Now, I worked in the mall, in the local mall, for 3 years. And I started part-time as a salesperson, and I did so well. I was a natural that I ended up going into management. And those 3 years were a time of growth, and I learned a ton. It was really good for my skill set and just to learn how lots of people live. What they go through when they're working full-time with inconsistent schedules. And in retail specifically, you're dealing with people as well as with the hours on your feet. So it gave me a lot of empathy and compassion for people working in those fields. And so, but it also made me realize those 3 years in the mall, how much money I was spending. Of course, I had to buy clothes on a regular basis. It was clothing stores. So my closet was probably enough for 3 or 4 people to clothe. I could have probably clothed a village with the amount of clothes I had. But then besides that, I was spending so much money, and I was surrounded by consumerism. And I realized, after I stopped working in the mall, which is many years ago now, I avoided the mall because I was so burned out. And I realized going in there to Christmas shop today and then one time last week, how far I've come. Like sometimes you just have to think about how far you have come in your life. And it takes something like that to make you realize and jog your memory. Like, wow, I used to work in here and I was surrounded full time by, people, especially at this time of year. People get really impatient and grouchy, and I have so many stories I won't talk about them tonight. I have so many stories of how people would treat me when I used to work as a manager at a clothing store. And they were just so ugly, and they would squabble with you over a $3 price difference. And I'm just so grateful that, I recognized the fact that I could not stay in that industry and stay a single mom and and be able to have energy for my family and for those things I was really passionate about. So luckily I was able to start back to school back then and get into a career I could manage better as far as my sleep schedule and just my life in general. But I just wanted to come on here to let you guys know that sometimes it's good to get through a season in your life that's difficult and then, maybe avoid it for a while once you're out of it, but then revisit it and go back and reflect on how far you have come. We all, or most of us, have success stories, even with little successes in our lives. It's very important to recognize that and to, pat yourself on the back and just see how far you have grown and how far that you have come in your life. And just, be grateful for that, because it does take a level of commitment and consistent growth and consistent just focus on wanting to grow as a person and to better yourself. And, that's something that you have to continually every day make a decision and work on that so that you don't lose your focus, don't get distracted, don't waste time. I mean, obviously we have down days or down times rather where we can just enjoy life and for recreation. But for the most part, it's really important to stay focused on your goals and every day just, a little bit further closer to your goal. And so anyway, with that, I just wanted to share that with you from my heart, because I'm just so grateful for not working in the mall, especially at this time of year. I remember working 50 to 55 hours a week, inconsistent hours for months at a time at this time of year. And now I go in there and support small business owners. I was really happy to buy a few succulent plants from a lady from a local business owner, and I got to meet her and chat with her and just encourage her to hang in there. And tomorrow is Christmas Eve tomorrow on the 23rd. So I'd like to encourage you to go out and just smile at people and just encourage people. If you can, support small businesses at this time of year and just encourage them and tell them what a good job they are doing and just how courageous and how much tenacity they have in being committed to their business and getting through a very busy season, which hopefully is lucrative for them. But it just really helps them to feel encouraged that way from people like us. So anyway, you have a great night, and thank you for joining me tonight. And I hope that you have a great season and a great day of your last minute shopping. Have a good night. Bye.